Hey guys, how's everyone doing today? I hope everyone is doing safe and well wherever you are all over the world. Today I want to make another video about the coronavirus. I'm currently I took a quick walk outside just very quickly. I'm at my childhood park, so welcome guys. As you can see, it's very quiet. There's actually a couple decent number of people around, not here because obviously I'm at a park, but I mean like outside. But anyway, so today I want to talk about what it's currently like in New York City during this coronavirus epidemic, as someone who is a born and raised New Yorker who's currently here today, living right here, who I work in the city, I went to school in the city. So I just want to just talk a little bit about what it's like right now. If you're new here, welcome to my channel. I'm so happy to have you guys here. A little bit about me, if you don't know, is that I work in the entertainment industry, specifically doing film and event services. And as you can imagine, with so many different entertainment events services and all the sorts of things being shut down left and right, how I currently feel. My city, personally, I believe they already made it so there's a ban of that no one can gather in crowds of 50 or more. My job is to literally work at events more often than not that are 50 or more. So you can only imagine that basically this city essentially made my job almost illegal at this point. So I'm currently out of work, sadly. Everyone in my company is out of work. We technically are still employed there, but it's more of just that the offices are closed because there are no events to physically plan or organize anymore. Film productions and everything has been shut down in the city. But we're going to talk more about that in this video. Maybe to get a discussion going, wherever you guys are in the world, maybe comment down below where you guys are at in the world, and maybe one way that you guys has currently been impacted by the coronavirus. And maybe watch all the way to the end of the video so you can maybe see whether or not your life compares, how it compares, is it similar or is it different than what's going on in New York City right here today? And I'd love to know. So stay tuned and let's get the video rolling. So I think the first way to really describe what life is currently like in New York City, I think is that I think because of the coronavirus, it's just led to a lot of moments for a lot of New Yorkers of just uncertainty, and a lot of moments of fear for a lot of different people, a lot of moments of uncertainty, so many questions that are floating in like every single person's mind right now, just because of how fast every single thing has been moving. I still remember like last Monday, maybe about only 2 weeks ago, everyone was happy, going to work, and then suddenly, all of a sudden, I think by Wednesday the NBA was shut down, Thursday Broadway entertainment was shut down, Friday restaurants and bars, most of them were open, but they were shut down to allow people to sit down. So basically you were able to eat at the restaurants, but you had to take out the food, so you weren't allowed to physically sit in the restaurant, which kind of makes it hard. If you ever wanted to meet up with your friends, dates, all that kind of stuff is basically out of the table. So many questions that are lingering in the minds of so many New Yorkers right now. For a lot of people, for workers, it's, will I still be employed next month? What are they going to do? If you own a mom and dad, for a lot of the small businesses, will I even be in business? So many stores have already been closing all around the city. For students, how long will I be out of school for? Many students, I believe New York City public schools have either closed or they've been moved to online classes. Colleges also probably vary. Some of them have been basically closed until the summertime even, or simply just move their classes to just doing it online now. For seniors, will they graduate? For a lot of other people, what's the economy going to look like? What's business going to look like? What is the world going to look like? How, what are the numbers going to look like? How many people are going to have corona by the end of this week? How many people are going to have corona by tomorrow? Because it's moving so fast everywhere we go. Just so many events. What is the world even going to basically look like? And I think even for every single person, even just understanding corona itself, what is the coronavirus? What are its symptoms? How does it work? Do you even have corona? Do I even have coronavirus? Do you have coronavirus? There's just so many questions, so many moments of fear, and so many moments of uncertainty. I think the second way to describe what it's really like in New York City, it's just that it's just been very quiet. But interestingly, it's actually not been dead. I've actually been very shocked about that point, because I remember like when I was taking walks outside, I would have assumed that, you know, I would be able to like wander and scream around Times Square and nobody would be there to like look at me and I can shout and let out my frustration or sing or something like that. But the streets are shockingly actually not dead, actually, you know, and there's definitely been, there's obviously not as many people around, but I had assumed that it was going to be like dead silent. But shockingly, yeah, no, I mean, there's still people around. People are still going outside on the streets. Not as many people. Definitely like a much less people than usual. But like you'll still see, you know, people walking around, wandering the streets. I still see people jogging, you know, around, which is kind of surprising, especially for like the fact that, you know, so many different stores have closed. I still see lots of people exercising, walking on the streets, chilling, all sorts of different things that have been going on. I think that it probably really does depend on like the time of day, and probably the neighborhood specifically, because I know Chinatown, for example, is, I think compared to a lot of other neighborhoods, Chinatown's actually particularly really quiet right now, and I think it's probably the most quiet place that I've been. Every single clip I think that you'll see here that takes place in Chinatown, I took actually today, literally today. So they're all very recent, they're all very up to date. I took them today, Saturday, March 21st, 2020. I know for like, even for me, like I rarely even spend time outside right now. First off, because everything's closed. So even if I did go out, there's not really any place to go. But also, second of all, is also simply just because I'm also out of work. So obviously, you know, there's less reasons. Most of the time, if I do go out, it's really just to like either get fresh air, which is actually why I'm outside, interestingly right now, because I've been inside for a lot, you know, or it's to just grab really quick grocery stores, like a very pop in and out kind of situation, which is probably what I'm gonna do like in just a couple minutes right now. But you know, I'm trying to keep a distance from people, keep to self, don't touch too many objects. I'm standing for a reason and I'm not sitting because, you know, I'm trying to avoid touching, contact, anything like that. Okay, so the sun has obviously set. I am almost home, so good thing there. I'm almost, you know, back home where I'm supposed to be. And probably the final way that I think to really describe New York City right now is just, it's a lot less social. I think that's probably the big thing, is because people are generally keeping a lot more distance to each other, a lot less people are socializing. Also out of the fact that, again, let's mention, is that since everything's closed, there's not really anything to really socialize with, you know. Like I know that if you browse around, you know, stores are closed, arcades are closed, museums are closed, sports events are closed, concerts are closed, conventions, gatherings, hobbies, meetups, everything is closed, bars are closed, every little thing go on and on. Everything's closed basically, really, except just like, I think like a few grocery stores and a few restaurants. And even those restaurants, you know, are the few, very few that are open, you know, you're not even allowed to sit inside of the restaurants. You know, they've done a kind of situation where all the food has to be taken out now. So literally everything is basically just like a drive out or just like takeout kind of situation. I'm pretty sure even many churches are closed, which is crazy, you know. Then, you know, it kind of makes you think, what happens if you want to hang out with your friends or anything like that? Well, that's basically something that, you know, is not really happening in New York City anymore. Hey everyone, how's it going? If you've stood along, thank you guys so much for still being here. I am now back at home. Thankfully, it is a lot safer than being outside. So one really quick one that I actually just came up with, that I actually really thought about, and I think one way that to really describe what it's like in New York City is actually just scarcity. I think one way to describe it is that I've read all over the news that there's a massive scarcity and shortage of things like testing kits, hospital beds, at least certainly right now. I know it came up because actually one of my friends actually suspected that she might have, actually a few of them did, and they had gone to try to attempt to get tested, and then they apparently were denied testing, and the reason they were given was because they apparently didn't have enough testing kits. So they basically just said, well, you know, if you're not sure, assume you have it and then just go home straight. So just really wanted to quickly throw that. I actually think there's enough toilet paper. I think a lot of people have, you know, there's been a lot of jokes about, is there enough toilet paper? I don't know, I've been asked. I think there's been enough toilet paper. I mean, I guess it depends on where you shop, but there's so many CVS's that are, you know, I'm pretty sure still open during the daytime. So yeah, you know, like, so scarcity of resources, that's definitely one of them. So thank you guys so much for watching along. Hopefully this gives you guys a pretty decent picture of what it's currently like in New York City. It's definitely a very, very interesting and unique time in history, probably no matter where you are. Maybe now that you've watched this through, if you've managed to get through this far, thank you guys so much, because I know, you know, we all have this attention span kind of thing, including me. Maybe drop down below maybe whether or not you guys can relate to it. What's it like where you guys are at? Is it similar or is it different than New York City? And then until next time, oh yeah, and I did make a couple other videos on coronavirus. I made one talking about what it's like in Hong Kong, because I was there way back in January, and little did I think that, you know, Hong Kong's past back then was going to be New York City's future. Never would I have guessed that. Well, maybe not never, but I definitely didn't guess that at that time period. So I do have one video on that. I have one about the economic effects, and then I also have another one describing like 32 ways that the coronavirus situation has really impacted everyone on a global scale and all of the different events. So definitely check that out. I might like do an end screen. I'll definitely put it in the description. So like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell notification button. I think a couple videos I might try to make in the future maybe is I might make a couple other videos maybe about like how to deal with being quarantined, or there's a couple of ideas that have been bouncing in my head, or maybe if you guys have an idea of some kind, feel free to drop it down below, because I'm always collecting it. Thank you guys so much. Until next time, stay safe, stay well, stay healthy, and hopefully may the entire world recover soon as we possibly can. Thank you guys.